Hello and welcome to my top 10 favorite Street Fighter 2 characters, in case you didn't get that from the title and from the awesome epic sax guy music. Yeah. Okay, anyways, before I begin actually telling you what characters are on this list or whatever and all the good stuff, I'm going to tell you a little bit about some boring stuff, some criteria that I use to judge what characters would be eligible for this top 10 list. The first requirement is that obviously they have to be characters that are from the Street Fighter 2 series. Now, for some of you that might not be familiar with what that would entail, the series has 5 games. That is Street Fighter 2 World Warrior, Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition, Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, Super Street Fighter 2, and Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. So it has to be characters from those 5 games, which would include 16 to 17 characters. And the second requirement in the criteria is that they have to be characters that I use quite often, for whatever reasons, whether they're wacky, cool, or if they actually are legitimately good characters. So let's get started with the number 10. That's right, number 10 is the Brazilian beast from the jungle, Blanca, who's also able to shoot lightning from himself. Well, maybe not exactly shoot it, so far as make an aura of it around him by rapidly pressing the punch button. And the thing I like about Blanca as a character is that he is an interesting character. I mean, he's just there. He's not good, evil, or anything. He's just kind of there. But he's typically a character I don't use as much because of the way you do his specials, which is to back up for 2 seconds and then press forward and punch. But his attack that's like that is like a cool rolling ball thing. So you're just like, oh yeah, come at me, bro. You know, I'll back up and you come at me and then I'll just hit you in the face as a rolled up ball. But, you know, he's not a character I use all that often, but he's still a cool character in the games and everything. And just very quick, all the characters that are in this top 10 list are actually very close together as far as how often I use them. So just keep that in mind as we move on to the next one. That's right, you saw it correctly. My choice for number 9 is the claw-toting Spanish madman that is Vega, who was originally named Balrog. And there's a funny story behind that name change, you know, from the Japanese version to the American version, but that will be discussed later on in the countdown. Anyways, as a character, Vega is a pretty good character in my opinion. Well, all of these are pretty good characters in my opinion, but Vega has a good amount of speed, which can be used to just jump over your opponent, troll the hell out of them, and then do it again. And he's another character like Blanca that has the combos or the special attacks where you back up for a couple seconds, then press forward and punch, kick, whatever. And, you know, Vega, I like him as a character. You know, he is crazy, he's weird, and when you fight him as a boss, he certainly is annoying as hell, but it's so satisfying when you beat the crap out of him. So, I believe it is time for us to move on to the number 8. That's right, the Japanese sumo wrestler Edmund Honda. Ha, you didn't think I would know that one, did you? Well, to me, he's a really cool character. He's a character that actually has a press punch button rapidly attack as well, just like Blanca did. And with Edmund Honda, his attack with that is that he punches the crap out of your opponent repeatedly, and it varies depending on the strength of the punch button that you use. So that's pretty cool. He is, yet again, a character with a go back for 2 seconds, then forward punch, forward kick attack. But his forward punch attack, you know, go back 2 seconds, forward punch, is a charging headbutt. And he kind of looks like he's launching himself like a missile, which is pretty cool. So again, the tactic of, I'm going to back up, you fall into my trap, I headbutt the crap out of you. And not only that, but he has a good amount of power on him. and everything, and it's funny to hear his victory laugh, which in the original Street Fighter 2, and I think all of the games, they have the same victory laugh because reasons, I guess. But anyways, time to move on to the number 7. That's right, the lady with the legs, Chun-Li herself. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking. She's way too low on your list. She has the good balance of the speed and the power, and she should be way higher. Well, it's not your list, is it? But anyways, not to be insensitive, but anyways, to me, she's a character I use, but she's not one I use a lot. And although, like I said, she has a good balance of power and speed, and that she can move quick enough to do what I want her to do, she has enough power to hit hard enough, and that combination is pretty good, but I don't know, just something about her, And plus some of the other characters that are about to come up in the list I like a little bit better, so I don't know. So here we go with number 6. That's right, the boxing powerhouse from America, Balrog, whose original name in the Japanese version was Mike Bison. That's right, the person who in America we know as Bison was actually known as Vega, and like I said earlier, Vega, that's the person we know in America, was Balrog. And the reason for the name rotation switch was because Balrog, aka Mike Bison, was, as you could probably infer from the name, and you could look at his portrait from Street Fighter 2, he looks suspiciously like the boxer Mike Tyson. And they did not want to get in trouble with anybody over here, so they just said, hey, we're going to switch the names between these 3 characters. And some of the names actually fit better, in my opinion. But anyways, down to Balrog as a character. I like him because he's someone that I like to call a charge character. Again, he has the combos, special attacks where you back up and do the forward punch and kick, but it's to where he charges towards your opponent while doing that. Not only that, but because he's a boxer, all of his kick buttons are replaced with lower punches. So essentially he has 6 punch buttons. But, he's a pretty cool character. I like him. He has a good amount of power for my taste. And he's got a pretty good little shuffle going on there, and his victory animation is always pretty nice, him ripping off his shirt. But, in a totally heterosexual way. But anyways, I think he's a pretty decent character, and some of you might be pissed that he's higher on the list than Chun-Li, but oh well. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Balrog. Time to move on to number 5. Ooh. That's right. His theme goes with everything. He's in the Air Force. He's from America. It is Guile. Now, at first I thought he was just an overrated character where he just got too much hype from people, and that the whole his theme goes with everything meme was just highly overdone. However, when I played as him, I saw why people were so excited about him and why people were saying to go be a family man. But as a character, I do like him a lot, and he definitely has a good amount of power. He has a decent amount of speed. His Sonic Boom definitely can cause you to be able to fight from a distance and everything. His somersault is definitely fun as hell to execute, if only to hear him say somersault. But and sometimes I even like to do a Sonic Boom just to hear him say Sonic Boom. But anyways, all in all, he is a pretty decent character, and he's got a weird haircut. So without further ado, let's go to number 4. The character that is essentially a copy of the famous martial artist Bruce Lee is number 4 on the list, and his name is Fei Long. Now, something I like about Fei Long is, all of the sound effects he makes when he does his attacks and everything. And he has a pretty good amount of speed. And his power isn't... Well, his power is pretty good, but at the same time, he has a pretty good amount of speed. He kind of has a little bit of a balance thing going on like Chun-Li does. But, I like to use him a lot. His special attacks for me are pretty damn simple to use. And he has a... pretty good way about doing everything, I think. And as a character, he is interesting. I mean, he is essentially, like I said, just a copy of Bruce Lee. But at the same time, he's become a cool character in his own right aside from that. Or maybe because of that. Forever immortalizing the awesomeness of Bruce Lee. But before I run out of things to talk about, time to go ahead and hit it with number 3. Not much really has to be said about the person at my number 3, Sagat. He definitely brings back memories for people that have played the games of just getting their asses totally kicked. And really all you have to do with Sagat as a character is just tiger, 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 tiger uppercut, and then you win. But if you want to play him like I do, without spamming the tiger attacks all the time, he's still a really good character. He has a lot of power, which is something that I like about him. And he also, he's not incredibly fast, but he's not slow either, so that's always really good. And it's just, as a boss, like I said, he just conjures up memories of just getting your asses whooped, and is commonly heard, or at least I've commonly heard, that a lot of people view Sagat as a harder boss than Bison is in the games. And, he's just a really cool character. I actually like his story and everything, how he's trying to get to become the world's strongest again after Ryu sort of took him down from his throne and, gave him the scar on his chest that he has throughout the entire Street Fighter series. So I think there's really nothing more that I can say about Sagat except that he's badass. And time to move on to number 2. Cammy. Now she's a character that I like to use quite a bit, and I know some of you might gripe and say, why is she higher than Sagat? But really, for me, the selling point for Cammy, as far as me using her, is her speed and her maneuverability. That is, she's pretty quick, and she can also move out of the way of attacks and hit the opponent in the face also while doing it. Now, and she's really a character I like to use a lot because of her quickness and the maneuverability, like I said. And, she has pretty simple special attacks you can execute, and she has a lot of good stuff about her. And, there's a small selling point where in some of her victory animations she shows you her behind, but that's not really, it is nice, but it's not a big selling point for me using her. All that good stuff. So before you all think I'm a perv, time to finally, at last, move on to the number 1. That's right, my number 1 all-time favorite Street Fighter II character is Ken Masters. Now, I know some of you may be thinking that basically Ken and Ryu are the same character but with different colors and everything, and even their sound effects are the same. Well, I can't argue with you on that. That is a very good point to make. However, I feel that over time, as the Street Fighter series has progressed, they've sort of branched off in different styles as sort of their special attacks and their super specials. With their super specials, I feel Ryu is more focused on the Hadoukens and the Hurricane kicks, while Ken is more devoted to the Shoryukens and like punching combos and stuff. So really, they do become different characters, and that was really something I had to look at with Ryu versus Ken as far as my number 1. And besides, I always feel better when I use Ken. You know, I feel more comfortable when I use Ken. When I use Ryu, it's kind of like, okay, I'm using Ryu. I'm using the character that everybody else uses. And I mean, sure, there might be a giant Ken brigade out there in the world, but who cares? You know, Ken is a good character in my opinion, just like the rest of the list, but, you know, he's just a character that I am very, very familiar with. And although I know he can be defeated by certain kinds of characters, I really don't care. So, yeah, that's my pick for my #1 all-time favorite Street Fighter II character. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. And if you liked it, go ahead and give it a like down below. And if you disagree or agree with any of the things that I've said about the characters or about how this video was made, then again, comment below. And if you liked it, give it a like, and, you know, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys some other time.